Alright, so the tier 5 absolute zero in BT6 just got two very cool changes which I'm low-key excited about. So let me show you guys what we're talking about. The first change is that now this aura, which only used to work on small balloons, now actually slows down Moab class balloons as well. So you guys can see as the Moab class balloons are entering the range of the absolute zero, they are getting slowed down a little bit. This is very cool because this obviously works with other sources of slow in BT6, so you can just stack up slow like crazy with this thing now. The slow is 20%, but in order to show you guys the second change, I need to actually place the absolute zero here on the side, and I'm going to send in a 999 ceramics. Now what this new change allows it to do is that it gives the absolute zero a secondary attack, and this secondary attack is global, and look at what it does. It freezes every single small balloon on the screen for 0.75 seconds, and this is actually crazy. It doesn't actually apply all the effects. For example, we have permafrost, so these balloons on the side are not going to get permafrosted, but it's really cool because it just kind of stops everyone in time for a second, not just the balloons in its radius. So I was thinking, how do I make this one into a video, because this obviously only works on small balloons, and I think that we may have something cooking by getting the M.A.D and just popping all the Moab class balloons, and then maybe just trying to stop all the small balloons using the ice and some mediocre towers. So let's actually see if we can make it happen. Right, so this base ice seems to be cleaning out around 8, and is it going to be able to clean out around 9? Because I want to get the Gwen, but I feel like we're going to have to beat this round as well. So how is it looking? I think it's doing really well. This is the perfect map for the ice, by the way, and this guy is going to turn into the absolute zero. And 2 more claps, 1 more clap, there we go. Alright, so I think I'm going to have Gwen actually like here, maybe a little bit on the backside, just like this. And I actually think that this new absolute zero change might negatively impact a little bit 2 million pops runs. And I say that because the secondary attack that it affects all the ceramics, it doesn't actually steal pops, it does 0 damage basically. So I'm not worried about the new secondary global attack, but what I am worried about is the fact that if you want to make use of this new slow of 20% of the Arctic Wind aura, you need to have this guy in the range of the balloons, and the absolute zero can in fact attack Moab class balloons by itself. So if you want to get the slow, this thing is gonna have to be inside the action. By the way, this is a great defense. I mean, just Gwen and the ice, and we still haven't had the need to use the cocktail. We are affording the discount village. I'm only gonna use 1 for this one. We need to get the bigger radius though, because I want to have the dartling right here in this corner, so hopefully I didn't mess things up actually. Alright, the count balloon 24. I'm gonna have the targeting just like this, so we didn't miss it, and we do have money for the dartling, so let's see if we can get it. Yes, that's amazing. Okay, let's have the dartling like this. We're gonna start saving a lot of money, but the M.A.D is a little bit more expensive in this new update. We're playing on 47, and they actually increased the price by $5,000. Alright, so kind of speed running through these early rounds. The thing that I'm looking to get is the rocket storm onto the dartling, and then I think we're going for the absolute zero, and then we're going for the M.A.D, so that should be quite challenging actually for the dartling. Let's get the camo detection on it, and then we're going for the faster barrel spin, and I'm actually contemplating getting the bottom crossbat on this one because I want to get the pierce and not the focused firing. Yeah, let's actually do that. Let's get the powerful darts. I know that this is a weird one, by the way, but when we eventually upgrade to the M.A.D, I want to have these rockets go through as many big balloons as possible. Alright, so around 35, getting cleaned out, no issue. Maybe 36, huge waves incoming. Because of the fact that we went from the bottom crossbat, I actually don't think that this one is going to be an issue, but let's just watch. We're very close to the Hydra rocket pods. 4.1k, we're getting some discount on this guy as well, by the way. That's really nice, and we should have the money right about now. There we go. I'm not sure what the best crossbat is, by the way, with the new ice. I guess it's still the same. I mean, I prefer using the 250, so I feel like there's no significant change in that aspect. But let me get the Arctic Wind now, and I think we need to micro this guy a little bit because this dartling is like our only damage source at this point. We just need to be careful, and we need to micro it. Oh yeah, let me actually use the cocktail, get some damage going. Hopefully this thing pops right about now, and yeah, if it pops in the range of the ice, there's like no issue. Okay, I'll be honest, that Moab around 40 was a little bit concerning, as these 45 ceramics are, because we're not exactly popping them instantly, so they need to come into range of the ice so that we stun them and then we pick up the damage. So I think this is a good time to buy the Rocket Storm. As far as I know, the Rocket Storm doesn't offer any additional damage in comparison to a tier 3, but you do get the ability, which is nice to have. And then let's get the Snowstorm for $4,000. Thankfully, the absolute zero by itself is not that expensive of a tier 5. It's about 21,000, but getting to the M.A.D, which is actually 70,000 in chimps nowadays, that's a huge yikes, guys. So yeah, let's get the absolute zero first. Let's see how we do versus 49 though. Yeah, we are keeping the balloons in place. That's the most important aspect right now of our setup. This is the Moab around 50, so I think I'm just gonna use the cocktail. It's gonna affect this one. It's gonna stay on the field for all these ceramics, but it's not gonna be here for the second Moab, so we actually need to micro it for this one. I just kind of follow this guy along. I know that we had the Rocket Storm ability, but I was actually trying to save it for either 53 or 54, because 53 is gonna have 3 mobs and 54 is gonna have a couple of mobs plus ceramics as well. I think we actually keep it on this one. I'm gonna use the Snowstorm just for a second, slow these guys down just for a tiny bit. I think we do have the damage on this one. I'm gonna use the cocktail in a second, so use it now so that the second mob walks into it, and then it should remain on the field for this third one. Yeah, and the small balloons. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, this is kind of a super weak setup, honestly. We have money to do other things. We could get the jungle drums from maybe even get like this guy in alchemist, which is going to be super helpful. Let's, by the way, use the ability, use the rocket storm, get rid of all these ceramics and mobs, and that should be fine. Oh yeah, look at how disgusting this ability is if you're not going for the top cross path. But hopefully this was the last mob that we have to defeat like this, and then the money is about there. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's get the absolute zero. Finally, let's lock the dartling in place, and this should be providing us with so much. Oh yeah, look at this thing. Look at this mob. This guy can barely move now. Are we actually popping it in range? Yes, we are. Finally. Let's actually watch 58 and just take a look at what this new absolute zero attack does. We have a lot of ceramics coming out beneath these mobs, and look at them. They're just getting stunned just for a second, and so in case you're missing damage, this is perfect. I guess the only question is, if you have $21,000, do you go for the absolute zero to buy yourself time, or do you just spend the money in extra defense in a way? Okay, let's see if this works on camel balloons, by the way, the secondary attack, because we went for the top cross path and we're gonna have camel leads. Yes, it does. It actually does work on camel balloons. Okay, that's amazing. All right, now 63, we can do a couple of things for this one. The first wave, I think I'm gonna use Gwen's cocktail, and this is gonna be amazing. Yeah, look at the stall that this guy provides. Now I can see I guess a little bit of the value of this new absolute zero attack. Second wave, let's use the rocket storm ability. What's the cooldown on this thing, by the way? Didn't it get reduced by like 5 seconds recently, or I think I'm confusing with something else actually. And then the third wave of ceramics, I'm just gonna use the level 10 ability, just evaporate everyone. Maybe I actually should have led with the rocket storm so we had it for 64, because I'm a little bit concerned about the 45 mobs, not the normal ones actually. Yeah, let's see how we do versus these 45 mobs. I mean, I am targeting and I'm following them. Are we gonna pop the first one? Oh, some balloons are actually escaping. And look at the new attack. Look at this thing. Okay, so this is actually buying us time so that we can pop the leftovers, and I mean, I guess it was kind of useful there, right? Maybe we want to see it in action versus some bigger balloons, but yeah, this is basically what it does. It just buys you a little bit of time. Alright, now this is a round where the new attack might actually be super useful, because we're seeing basically everything. 45 mobs, some small balloons beneath so that they can trigger the attack, because the absolute zero needs to be attacking. If there are small balloons on screen but they're not in range of the absolute zero, they're not gonna get frozen. It doesn't just like blindly attack in the air, it needs to have targets. And also we have like these groups of BFBs, so this is gonna be a very, very important round so that we can see what's happening with this new attack. And I can already see, you know, some of these ceramics getting frozen, so that's nice. I think it's time for the rocket storm ability. Let's just try and get as many of these guys as possible, but I don't think this is gonna last for the last BFB group. Now this is gonna be really important. We also have the absolute zero ability itself, so in case things get a little bit dicey, yeah, we're gonna need to start freezing these guys. I'm actually gonna use the ability, so let's just start sniping some of these balloons. That's a lot of balloons, by the way, so let's actually be careful. And then we should save the rocket storm ability. Look at these guys getting frozen, by the way, on the side. That's crazy. But yeah, we should save the rocket storm ability for 76, right? Let's see how this is gonna go. Oh my god, that's so funny. Actually, these guys are not even in range and they're all getting frozen. Okay, let's use the rocket storm ability, and this should be able to clean out 76 as well. There we go. Alright, this attack is actually great for a round like this one, because look at this thing. We have like 500 rainbows beneath, and all these guys are getting stunned so that our towers don't get overwhelmed. So I'm actually kind of warming up to this new change to the absolute zero, guys. Okay, so this is where we need the new attack to go to town and do exactly that. You guys see those ceramics which are not getting popped, but they are getting stunned for a second. That is exactly what we need to see for these free play rounds. Yes, look at this thing. We are definitely not popping them, so yeah, we need the absolute zero, and so far it's delivering. This is exactly where I can see this tower being useful actually in the new attack. It's such a niche scenario where you just don't have enough damage, but you can stall these balloons for so long until you can get the damage. Let's use the rocket storm ability again. You know what, I think I'm gonna freeze everyone actually, because these abilities are kind of on a short cooldown, the absolute zero one as well. I mean, the darling is trying to attack for sure, and I can see some of these projectiles just going on the other side is because of the extra pierce, but I'm not sure we have the damage for this thing. Let's get the rocket storm going. We're at $59,000 so far, and we do have another absolute zero freeze, which I think I'm actually gonna use. Let's freeze these guys, use the cocktail again, and look at this absolute zero ice. I mean, this is such an enabling tower actually. This 042 dartling should not be able to do this, but yet it somehow is. I think we do have it. Yeah, it's $70,200, which we're gonna have in a second actually. So let me just dump all of these abilities, get as many pops going, and finally we do get the M.A.D, which is gonna be erasing all of these these big balloons. This is exactly what we came here for. Is this like a 2 Tower Chimps combo that we're looking at? Because both of these guys can pop Camo. We can pop Camo-lets with the Snowstorm ability, and actually with the Daltic, what am I talking about? And if the Absolute Zero can actually help you hold off long enough so that you can buy the M.A.D, you pretty much won, because this new Absolute Zero can hold off these small ceramics for such a long time that you can play off the abilities, right? I mean, let's be clear, this sounds really cool in theory, but I'm not sure if it holds any water in practice. Let's actually use the level 10 so that we can just burn off all these ceramics a little bit faster. It's a really nice combo with the Arctic with slow, and just the fact that this M.A.D is really good versus mob class Bloons, right? Because it's going to be setting them up for the rockets. So yeah, that's yet another way these two work well together. I don't know. Alright, let's watch 94, but honestly 96 and 98 are the ones to look out for the most. I feel like so many small balloons with those guys, and I think one of the things that we should be doing is actually overclocking the M.A.D, as funny as that sounds, because we want to be dishing out these rockets as much as possible. They don't do anything versus ceramics, by the way. Yeah, we are starting to get a tiny bit, I don't want to say over one, but you can see the ceramics kind of making it all the way in this little square. So let's actually use the cocktail, see how much this is going to hold up. Let me check Gwen's pop. She is actually doing a decent amount of damage at this point. Yeah, 94 is not going to be an issue except for this setup. And this is such a weird setup, actually. Overclock the M.A.D, by the way. I think I'm going to use the M.A.D ability just for once, because I want to see how it goes. And this is so weird with the bottom crosspath. Look at these guys. Look at where they're flying. They're flying in the bottom left corner. That's how unprecise this new ability is. Okay, so again, just getting a bunch of small balloons, and I think I'm going to start this round off with just the level 10 ability, because I think the Firestorm does a decent amount of damage to mob class balloons as well, to just get the popping of these guys as fast as possible. Let's overclock the M.A.D again. We are holding off, guys. I'm actually not even one bit concerned about what's going to be happening to the entirety of this game. I'm especially not concerned about mob class balloons, but like I'm not even concerned about ceramics, because we can just do like this and everything evaporates in a second, it seems like. Finally, 98. Okay, so let's overclock this guy. We do have the Absolute Zero ability if necessary, but I don't think that it is. Just kind of take everything slowly, let's just chill, see what this new attack is gonna do, see how it works with all these other ceramics, and honestly just try and pop as many of these mob class balloons as possible so we get to the ceramics. I really hope to be able to overwhelm this size, but it doesn't look like it. I mean, maybe a little bit actually. I saw all those ZMGs popping, so I think it's time for us to use the M.A.D ability, and after we use this ability, I mean, it's pretty much game over for these balloons, isn't it? Yep, there we go. Let's overclock, let's get rid of these 45 DDTs, and man, what a ridiculous combo these two are, huh? I want to think that a good chunk of what we did today was possible only thanks to like these new changes to the Absolute Zero. I know that they were super helpful when we only had the 4th tier Dalting, the Rocket Storm, because that thing just was amazing, slowing down the mob class balloons and just allowing us to do the damage. Let's just use the M.A.D ability for one last time. That's a really nice insta, actually. Yeah, that's about it with this video. Am I missing some use case with this new Absolute Zero attack? If you guys have any cool ideas, let me know in the comments, but that's gonna be it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching it, and I'm gonna see you on the next one.